It was 1998. Late. The kind of late where the building settles and every sound echoes longer than it should. Vic Tandy was alone in the laboratory. His colleagues had warned him about this place. People felt watched here. Some saw things. Gray shapes, moving just at the edge of vision. He didn't believe them, until that night, when he saw it too. What Tandy discovered would change how we understand fear itself. Why certain rooms feel wrong. Why some buildings have always felt haunted. And why your eyes might be lying to you. The answer wasn't a ghost. It was a frequency, 18.9 hertz. A sound too low for human ears to detect. But your body? Your body hears it perfectly. This is the story of the fear frequency. And once you understand it, you'll hear it everywhere. To understand what Tandy found, you need to understand infrasound. It's sound below 20 hertz, below the threshold of human hearing. You can't hear it. But it's everywhere. Earthquakes produce it. Ocean waves generate it. Storms, traffic, industrial machinery, all pumping invisible pressure waves through the air around us. Most of the time, we don't notice. But at certain frequencies, at certain amplitudes, something happens. The body responds even when the ears can't register the signal. The human eyeball has a resonant frequency of approximately 18 to 19 hertz. When infrasound at this frequency is present, your eyes can physically vibrate. Your vision distorts. That vibration creates peripheral apparitions, gray shapes, movement where there is none. Your brain interprets this distortion as something lurking just outside direct sight. Vic Tandy didn't know any of this. He was an engineer at a medical equipment manufacturer in Warwickshire, England. A skeptic by nature. A scientist by training. The laboratory where he worked had a reputation. Staff complained of feeling uneasy. Some reported cold sweats, difficulty breathing. Others saw things, shapes in their peripheral vision that vanished when looked at directly. Management dismissed it. Old building. Overactive imaginations. But Tandy noticed something. The feelings were strongest in one particular part of the lab, and they'd started recently. A new extractor fan had been installed. Large, industrial, mounted in the wall. Nobody thought twice about it. One night, Tandy was working late, alone. He felt the familiar unease, the sense of being watched. Then he saw it. A gray figure standing at the edge of his vision. When he turned to look, nothing. Most people would leave, call it a night, tell themselves they imagined it. Tandy was different. He started asking questions. The next day, he brought in a fencing foil. Not because of ghosts, he competed in fencing tournaments. He needed to repair it. But when he clamped the blade in a vise, it started vibrating, visibly, on its own. The blade was resonating. Something in the room was producing a frequency that matched the foil's natural vibration. Tandy borrowed some equipment and measured the frequency. 18.9 hertz. He traced it to the new extractor fan. The motor was producing infrasound, a standing wave that bounced between the walls and concentrated in exactly the area where people felt afraid. They turned off the fan. The feeling stopped. The gray figures vanished. The haunting was over. But Tandy wasn't satisfied. If infrasound could explain this haunting, how many others might it explain? He started investigating. He examined the basement of the Tourist Information Bureau next to Coventry Cathedral. Reportedly haunted for decades, visitors reported feeling watched, cold chills, and inexplicable dread. Tandy found infrasound. The cellar's architecture created a natural acoustic chamber. Traffic outside generated low-frequency vibrations that resonated within the stone walls at precisely 18 hertz. Edinburgh Castle, one of the most famously haunted locations in Britain. Tandy investigated that too. Same pattern. Specific corridors where people consistently reported strange experiences, all producing infrasound. But here's where it gets strange. Why 18 hertz? Why does that specific frequency trigger fear? The answer might be older than humanity itself. A tiger's roar contains frequencies around 18 Hz. Below the audible growl, there's a subsonic component. You can't hear it, but your ancestors could feel it. For about half a second before they died, scientists theorize humans evolved to associate this frequency with predator threat. 18 Hz means danger. Your body responds before your mind catches up. Chest tightening, hair rising, the overwhelming sense that something is wrong. The resonant frequency of many human organs is close to 19 Hz. Your chest, your lungs, your heart, all vibrate sympathetically. That's why infrasound causes breathing difficulties, cold sweats, the physical sensation of dread. So, here's the picture. You walk into a building, maybe an old cellar, maybe a hospital corridor late at night. Your ears hear nothing unusual. But below 20 Hz, something's happening. The building's ventilation, traffic outside, the architecture itself creating a resonance chamber. Pressure waves washing through you at exactly the wrong frequency. Your eyes vibrate. Movement appears at the edges of your vision. Your chest tightens. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your brain, flooded with ancient alarm signals, tells you something is here. Something is watching. But nothing is there. There never was, just sound you couldn't hear, pressing against organs you didn't know, could feel it. In 2003, researchers ran a controlled experiment at a concert in London. They embedded infrasound into certain pieces of music, without telling the audience which ones contained it. 22% of attendees reported unusual experiences during the infrasound pieces. Unease, sorrow, chills down the spine, feelings of revulsion or fear. None of them knew what was causing it. 22% might not sound like much. But think about it. Nearly a quarter of a random audience, experiencing fear, sorrow, chills, and the only difference was a sound wave they couldn't hear. Here's the uncomfortable implication. How many of history's hauntings were just bad ventilation? How many demons were really diesel engines? How many ghosts were the wind resonating through stone? The ancient Egyptians built temples with specific acoustic properties. Some theorize medieval cathedrals were designed to produce infrasound during organ music, enhancing the sense of divine presence. If they did it intentionally, they understood something we're only now rediscovering. Invisible sound shapes how we feel, and it's been doing it all along. So what do you do with this information? If a specific room or building consistently makes you feel uneasy, it might be worth investigating. Not for ghosts, for vibrations. Old buildings with large ventilation systems are common sources of infrasound. Industrial fans, air handling units, even heavy traffic nearby can produce it. The feeling of being watched might have an entirely physical explanation. Weather conditions matter too. Strong wind can cause buildings to resonate. The dread you feel on stormy nights. It might not be imagination. It might be architecture responding to atmosphere. Vic Tandy died in 2005. But his discovery changed how we think about haunted spaces. It didn't prove ghosts don't exist. It just showed us one more way our bodies can deceive us. Not every haunting has an infrasound explanation. Skeptics of the skeptics point out that many reportedly haunted locations show no measurable low-frequency sound. The infrasound theory explains some things, not everything. Some experiences remain unexplained. Some places feel wrong for reasons we can't measure. But now, at least, we have one more tool for understanding the darkness. The next time you're somewhere that feels off, a hotel room, an old house, a basement that makes your skin crawl, consider the machinery. Listen for what you can't hear. Feel for what you can't see. Your discomfort might have a source. It might even have a solution. Sometimes the ghost in the corner is just a fan spinning at exactly the wrong frequency. And sometimes the explanation is the strangest part. 18.9 Hz. A number that doesn't mean anything. Until you're standing alone at 2 a.m. and the room feels wrong and something gray shifts in the corner of your eye. Is it a ghost? Is it the building's ventilation system hitting your eyeballs at resonant frequency? You'd be amazed how often the answer is both and neither. Tandy wrote about his findings in the Journal of the Society for Psychical Research. He wanted scientists and paranormal investigators alike to consider infrasound when examining haunted locations. He didn't want to debunk the supernatural. He wanted to understand it better. If we could identify which hauntings had physical causes, maybe we'd be better at recognizing the ones that didn't. If you found the story interesting, hit subscribe. We explore the strange borders between science and the unexplained every week. The truth is rarely simple, but it's always worth finding. That laboratory in Warwickshire is still there. The extractor fan was replaced years ago. But sometimes people say, on quiet nights, no. Just kidding. It's fine. The building's fine. But here's the thing. Tandy's lab is one of thousands. Millions of buildings all over the world, with ventilation systems and resonant architecture. How many of them are haunted? How many people, right now, are lying awake in a room that feels wrong, feeling watched, seeing shapes in the darkness, blaming ghosts when the real culprit hums at 18 hertz, just below the threshold of hearing? 19 hertz. The frequency you can't hear. The frequency that vibrates your eyes, tightens your chest, and makes you absolutely certain something is in the room with you. Sleep well.